Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. We're continuing our series this week, special edition of Talking Fitchburg and Fire Prevention Week. And my friend Mark Lekish from the Fitchburg Fire Department is here and has been just entertaining me and hopefully all of you out there on some great fire prevention history, the open house, and now our first tip of the week. I don't know, I just wanted to do that. But this year's theme for Fire Prevention Week, if you were curious, October 5th through the 11th, is Charge into Fire Safety, lithium-ion batteries in your home. The batteries. A very good, great thing to have, but there are some interesting caveats with different types of batteries. And maybe this year focusing in on understanding battery types has got to be like a big deal.
So it's become a bigger issue lately because lithium-ion batteries are everywhere. They're in my watch, they're in our phone, they're in our laptop, they're in our tools. Any rechargeable batteries that you use is going to be using lithium-ion. And as a general rule, as long as we use them and follow some rules safely, they're pretty stable, safe way to get our power for us. But there are mistakes that can be made.
Oh boy.
And we're going to talk about them.
Well, we certainly are. So the first big piece of understanding just batteries in general, I'm not going to ask you to break down how a battery works or whatnot, but what are some typical issues that the fire department is dealing with to kind of set the tone here of the consequences of the use of batteries inappropriately or not the way it was intended, or just in general, what is causing the fire department to show up at your doorstep or elsewhere?
So I'm going to go ahead and dive into how the batteries work real quick, if that's okay.
Nope, it's not, but you do it. Of course it is, Mark. Go for it. Go for it, buddy.
This is what we're going to do. Okay, so these little guys right here, this is a AAA battery as we know it, right? But each one of these is a single cell. So when you get larger batteries from a drill all the way up to what we have in electric vehicles or hybrid vehicles is batches of these, literally. So even in the Teslas and the other electrical vehicles, it's just a whole bunch of these banded together, creating a power source, right? And then another group and another group and another group until you have a battery the size of this table that's managing, they're managing semis now, they're managing all of those, but they all start right here with these little cells. And what happens when there's a fire is one of these cells, something goes bad inside of it for whatever reason, and we can talk about that in a minute. But then we're going to go back to the word conflagration. One cell spreads to all of the other cells in that area. And that makes these fires incredibly tough to deal with because you have lots of little energy sources making a bigger fire. So lithium-ion fires have really become a challenge to put out. They can take lots and lots of water. Sometimes the best thing to do is to let them burn. And it's a situational decision that has to be made at that time, right? But that's the problem for these things is where they become a fire hazard is when one of these goes bad and it spreads to all of the other. Now, there's lots of reasons that one can go bad. The very first thing that you should know about batteries of any type, but particularly lithium-ion, is just look it over. Make sure it's not damaged or corroded. Because if it is, it's time to recycle it. But just make sure that each battery that you're using, whether it looks like this or it looks like this, is in good shape, it hasn't been dropped, the casing isn't cracked, all of those things. So that is rule number one in making sure that any lithium-ion batteries that you have remain safe.
I think another caveat one is, and it was pointed out by our friend Nick here, when we bought these rechargeables, is once they're full, you don't need to keep charging them, which is interesting because it's a reverse thought. Like, if I'm not using it, I'm gonna put it on the charger, and when I want to use it, I'll use it. But
so there are chargers, trickle chargers, smart chargers, things like that, where it will actually condition the battery as we go, right? So for the most part, once you put a battery on a charger and it's full, you want to take it off of that charger just like you had said, and just like you're talking about, to maintain the safety and integrity of that battery. It has a charge. It will work when you need it to. So once you put it on its charger, make sure that once it's full, it's off, unless, of course, it comes with a smart charger or a trickle charger.
And yeah, I mean, every battery is different. And part of this discussion this year is buy, charge, recycle. So, even backing up a little bit further, when you go out to buy a battery, what are the things that you should consider, when you are purchasing? And you're not here to make any specific recommendation to company, but there are some general rules of thumb when you're purchasing something to do some homework on, right?
Yep. And the very first thing that you should do with any electronic in particular, but specifically to lithium-ion batteries, is take a look at the declarations, the small print that actually sits out there on most of the devices that you're using. In particular, the one that you're looking for is one that says UL listed. What that means is this battery charger and associated battery have been tested by a third-party testing company that runs it through its paces to make sure that it will work the way it's intended to work. It's not a guarantee that there won't be a fire, but I can promise you that UL listed items, as opposed to items that haven't been run through a third-party testing company, will function much more efficiently and much more safely in the long run.
It's good to know. And also, when it comes to the end of life of the whether it's a device or battery, and you're kind of at that point, should I get it repaired? Could I repair it myself, or get rid of it? Where do you lean on that front?
So the answer is don't repair it yourself.
But Mark, there's so many great YouTube videos out there and other ways of fixing these things.
I'm certain that there are. I have not watched any of them because there is no reason for that. When a lithium-ion battery has run its course, I have a drill similar to this at home that I've replaced with a new one. Okay, the electronics of the drill get recycled, excuse me, and the battery goes to clean sweep. And that's just the way it is. That's the safest, really the only option for getting rid of those.
And the recycling part, as mentioned, a pretty big deal here. So a thing, maybe one common area that people have seen is the garbage truck fire. A lot of reasons why those types of fires happen, but if you're throwing these batteries, if you're not recycling them properly, and you're just tossing them into the trash or whatever, what's happening and what could happen, whether it's a garbage truck or not?
Going back to sort of my original explanation about the lots of little batteries inside of a bigger battery, right? This housing protects all of those batteries. If this housing is cracked or damaged, the odds that the little cells inside of it being damaged goes way, way up. And that's where you come into a problem. So look over your stuff, make sure that you're keeping it in good condition, keep it clean, if it falls on the floor, this happens to be for a tool, it's to some degree designed to be beat on a little bit. But if it falls on the floor, check it over, make sure there's no cracks or damage to the battery, because that's a red flag.
Fantastic. There are resources on our website at fitchburgwi.gov on recycling batteries. We have a couple of places listed where you can do that to appropriate places, i.e. so you don't have to have a visit with Mark and the team. But if they certainly do show up, they'll help advise you on what not to do next time. And just in general, Mark, it's not a scare tactic by any means, but understanding the stuff that you're using, from start to finish, I think just going to go a long ways in keeping you safe.
Yeah, learn a little bit about the products that you have, make sure that you're using them safely, and I'm going to throw in one last safety tip. When you buy batteries, or when you buy a tool like this, eventually you may say, I want another battery in case this one runs out and I'm in the middle of a project, right? Make 100% certain that you're buying the correct battery for your tool, because that's another way that fires start. And then the other thing to watch out for is to make sure that you're using the charger that's intended for this battery. So as an investigator, I've been to at least 3 that I can think of off the top of my head where the fire was started because people were using an incorrect battery with an incorrect charger. Just because it fits doesn't mean it's correct.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate the tips. And certainly, Mark, if anybody has any questions about the stuff you discussed today or any time, just you want to answer those questions.
Oh, absolutely. Give me a call.
All right. Give me a call any day. All right. Appreciate the time, Mark. We'll pick up their conversation next time.
Awesome.
Next week.